That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Oh, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
Fairly alarmed here.
Welcome to the MOTN Top 10, where we count down our favorite choices of artwork, comic books, video games, movies, things of all the natures within the Nerdiverse. I am, of course, your host, Mike G. And with me, as always, is my fellow host with the most. He's probably a ghost or some kind of immortal being, Winter Trash Monk III.
What's up, beautiful people out there in podcast land? I am, of course, Winter. That is Trash Monk the Third. That's Trash Monk III. That's Trash Monk III. Wishing you happy holidays.
Happy Feliz Navidad.
Yes, wishing you happy quinceañeras and happy Christmas.
Happy Boxing Day.
Yeah.
Happy Talk Like a Pirate Day. Whatever holiday is closest to when you listen to this.
Yes.
It's the holiday that we're
Happy
celebrating.
the Pata Day.
Happy Scary Pirate Day.
I believe that's an actual day.
I'm not going to say it's not. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie and shame the Satan. Lie and shame the devil. Well, if you saw this top 10 title, then you know it's towards the end of 2018. And what a crazy year it was for mostly everything. For all things nerd. For movies, for TV, and in this case, for video games. Because we're going to be doing our top 10 best and worst games of 2018.
Yes.
And just so you know, these are games that we played, mind you, this year. So there's no timetable on when they came out. They don't have to be out in 2018 or have debuted in 2018 to make this list. This is just the worst games and the best games we've played during this time frame of 12 months. So there are certain games that are not going to be on this list, which you may feel should be on this list, but that's your list. This is our list of favorites. So there's no metrics or there's no IGN score that's dictating any of this. This is just our preferences. Are you excited to get this bad boy?
And you know, and I'm using the term "play" very liberally.
Because some of these worst games are unplayable.
Or it's like I played a little bit or saw some kids play it, and I go, that's not for me. Okay.
You just turn your nose up.
Mm-hmm.
Like Powdered Toast Man. No, sir, I didn't like it. Like that one horse from Ren and Stimpy. So this is how this is going to go down. It is a top 10, but we're breaking this up we're cutting it in half. We're King Solomoning this list.
Yeah.
So it's going to be 5 good games chosen by Mike G and 5 not so good games chosen by the Trashmonious Monk over here.
Yes. So he gets the top half and I get the butt half.
The butt half. That's the good half. That's where all the juices rest.
Oh,
you know
good grief.
That's where all the fillings go.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Everyone knows what I'm talking about. You remember, you get it. So I'm going to do my first 5 best, and then he'll do his 5th worst. 4, 3, 2, 1. So that gives you a good idea of how this is going to flow and go. Silver hair like Cisco. Disco. Bars. You ready to get started, my good sir? Tabisco. Nabisco. If you're having a cookie right now, take a bite in honor of us. We will know it happened. Let's get this proverbial show on the road.
Number 5. Number 5.
What was that? Number 5. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh,
we
man,
don't have the budget
5
to include audio clips.
Right. I can't hire Gilbert Gottfried to do our countdown yet. We're getting there. Hopefully 2019 will give us such liberties to do so. But my number 5 is kind of like my best and worst game. It's kind of like it's on the list, so it made it of my 5 best games. But it's kind of like my worst game of the year because now that I think about it, I didn't play a lot of video games this year.
Now that you think about it,
now that I think about it, I didn't play a lot.
Do we need to check your Steam hours or your PlayStation hours?
I did that because I was like, I must have played more than this. But man, there's you'll see, and you'll see, and my number 5 game, which I kind of feel is my favorite and my not so favorite, was Dragon Ball Z Fighters. Actually, Dragon Ball Z Fighters, done by Bandai Namco, which is honestly the best looking fighting game of the year.
Methinks this is going to be the trend throughout the top 5.
No, man, you'll be surprised. No, you actually won't be surprised.
No.
If you've been listening to this podcast, you probably have a good idea how this list is going to go. But what I will say about Dragon Ball Z Fighters is that though the game is beautiful, though the graphics are amazing, I did not like the combat. I didn't like it. It just wasn't for me. Like I liked everything about Dragon Ball Z Fighters, but actually playing it. I just couldn't wrap my brain around the combat. I don't know if it's because I'm getting old, if I can't keep up. I don't know what it was. It was simple enough to where trying to do complex things made it very difficult. You know what I mean? It was very weird for me. So much so that
I never played that one in particular. I've played earlier ones in the past, earlier Dragon Ball Z's. Like I remember like going as far as having a PlayStation 1 and you have to put in like a special disc in order to play like a Japanese game into the PlayStation 1, and then you would get you'd get Dragon Ball Z onto that. Playing
Dude, I remember what you're talking about is the Pro Action Replay.
Yeah.
And you would plug that into your PlayStation, and that's the only way you can play the Japanese imports, like Dragon Ball Z, like Dragon Ball GT Final Bout, and Dragon Ball Z Battle 22, Ultimate Battle 22, which was Battle 27 because there was 5 extra characters. But what I will say about this game, I know, sorry, I just really like Dragon Ball fighting games, and this is an amazing one, and that's why it's on this list.
Right.
But I just couldn't get into it. Like I just never got in a good rhythm with that game. Like I love watching it. I love watching it competitively. I think it's a beautiful game with tons of love poured into it, which is why it's on this list. It just wasn't a game for me. I never really got into it. You know what I mean?
I feel you, dog.
Yeah. But it deserves a spot. It's the very tail end of the spot. But it's my favorite and not so favorite game of the year, I would say. 5th place. So what's your favorite worst game, if that makes any sense?
Well, let me lift up the trash lid here. Oh, it looks like someone tried to throw out a good game somewhat as number 5 because, you know, I'm in descending order from the worst of the worst. But right now it's like a half-eaten donut sitting on top of the trash heap, which is some mighty good.
You might take a bite, bro. Got some good picking.
It is Sea of Thieves.
Ooh, that's gonna upset some people.
Now,
I like it.
Easy there, folks. Don't get your jimmies all in a bunch there.
Whoa there.
Sea of Thieves, of course, is the game that exclusively came out on the Xbox as well as PC later on, I believe. Pretty much, you are a pirate. By the way, it's a rare game. And it's also rare how boring it can be at times.
Wow. Shots
Actually,
fired,
not so rare. I messed that up. Not so rare. March 20th, 2018 that it came out. I was one of the people who pre-ordered the game and had to suffer through several bugs in it. And I remember the day that my friend and I finally got to play together. And then we had the realization of, oh no, there's grinding in the game.
Right.
And then my friend tried to fool himself, as many people do as they're in cults, of like oh no, it's all about, having fun with friends. I'm like, so is every game that has more than one player.
Right.
Yeah. It's
Mhm.
about having fun with friends, and it's all about the atmosphere. I'm like, so is every game who has this like a story.
Right.
Yeah. But what was the final straw was trying to play with a full band of pirates all in the same party, and people just kept getting kicked off the servers, and then finally like, I have enough. I've
Yeah.
had enough. And then I tried to play a little bit of the first DLC, and they made it almost impossible, which I love, by the way. I love the idea. I love the ideas that were in the background of Sea of Thieves, but the implementation of it was like lackluster. And it could have just been me. It was not my cup of tea. That's why it's number 5. For some, it is the best game Xbox released this year, exclusive.
Right. And I watched a lot of gameplay, like Let's Plays and people streaming it when it was hot, when it first came out. And I just watched like 2 hours in.
Hey, I
I
loved
were
it.
bored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
They
drinking
loved
the
it until
Kool-Aid,
they hated
the
it.
Kool-Aid.
Yeah, because there was no winning or losing in it. You know what I mean? Like, you find there's pirates over there, we're gonna mess them up. There's no consequence to that game. At least what it looked like. Like, you know what I mean? There's no leveling.
Right.
It was just you're floating around with your buddies until you weren't. And that's what I was like. Oh, they should have put more thought into it than none at all. You know what I mean? Like, yes, you have a premise, but you didn't think anything beyond that. There's no end game. That you're just out there. You know what I mean? It just didn't look like it had legs, sea legs, mind you.
Yeah,
it didn't have the sea legs.
Well, it didn't have any legs. They were all chopped off and put peg legs on.
Peg leg, with parakeets chewing at their nubbed meat from under their calcified flesh.
All right, no more Clive Barker for you.
Oh. For the rest of the year?
Number 4, Quattro.
Number 4. Now, this number 4 was the reason I cheated and said it doesn't have to be in 2018, because I don't think this game came out in 2018. But this is a game I played for the first time this year, and it was so good that it made the list. And this game is actually called Transistor. Which is a little game about a character named Red, who's in this weird kind of techno-organic future where she lost her voice, and the soul of her boyfriend is stuck inside of a sword, like a digital, almost like a memory stick sword, and she has to go through and solve the case of her boyfriend's death. And it's just super cool, super stylish, over the head, kind of Diablo-like puzzle game, and it just captured my imagination. Earlier this year, if you've listened to the show, I talked about how I really liked the idea of Hades, a game that's coming out. I believe it's by, is it Supergiant or Supermassive?
I know, but it's an exclusive Epic Games release. Epic Games Store release.
Epic Games Store release. And I've always liked these games on the periphery. Like, I love the music and I love the art style, but I never played them. I was like, I know, I'm just going to stop. I'm just going to play this game and at least try it. And I beat it within a weekend. It just ate my entire weekend. I did nothing but play that game. I was locked in, and it left such a good impression with me that if you've never heard of Transistor, or I've heard of it but never wanted to give it the time of day, I would definitely recommend giving it a shot, because it's one of my favorite games of the year, my 4th favorite game of the year. And I have nothing but high praises to sing about it. It was really fun and different and chill, which is what I needed, versus having my eyes glued to the screen, paying attention to every pixel. You could just relax and stop and kind of take in the whole game, which I really enjoyed about it. Yeah, so that's my number 4, Transistor. Check it out.
Twisted Transistor. Have you ever met the members of Korn?
No, I've never met them. No,
Okay.
I've never met Jonathan.
Hey, I gotta ask these things. You. Oh wait, they're from Bakersfield. Never mind.
No, we don't associate ourselves with the members of Korn. Unless they're in like in a Scooby Doo episode, then I can let it rock.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, well, let's
What's your
see what's in
number
the trash
4?
bin for old Trash Monk here.
Take it in there. Take the trash can.
Yeah, well,
Let a rat fall out.
I had one in the chamber ready to go, but I'm gonna switch it last second.
Whoa!
The one in the chamber. This is number 4 for the Trash Monk. So number 5 was the only like game that could be considered decent, but still had some trashy aspects to it. Number 4 is a tie-in of Command and Conquer Rivals, which which was pretty much Electronic Arts not understanding video games anymore. Just like, let's do a Clash of Clans game, but it's like, what intellectual property do we have that people like, but we want to ruin? Command and Conquer, boom. And for some reason, it has a high rating on iTunes, or I mean the Apple Store, but I don't like it one bit. But so that's staying in the dumpster. That's staying in the dumpster. What it's being replaced with is the recently released game MMO by the makers of Project Arc, Atlas.
Talk to me about this game, because I've seen some stuff about it, and dude, like, what is it real? Is this a real game?
It is as real as they pulled a switcheroo on you, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, yeah,
a switcheroo being like, you see that girl walking down the street, and she's presenting herself very nicely.
Be careful.
And then you get closer, and it turns out it's not a girl at all you're talking to. It's like a dog with long hair.
Nice.
That type of switcheroo.
It's Michael Jackson with the cat eyes from Thriller.
Yes. Yes. So they made like this grand production of like, this is gonna be sick. The servers are gonna be and they're gonna have like dragons flying in the air, and there's gonna be pirates. and then the gamers are like, they're making noises that we like. let's all clap. But there was an elite few. I was not one of them that went, these are the people that made Project Arc. They released a DLC while the game was still in beta. Alert.
alert. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I'm like, no. They're gonna release it early access in early December or whatever. And then when that didn't happen, they postponed it a week or two. I'm like, okay, well, that's understandable. And then they postponed it another 3 days. I'm like, there's nothing that they need to work on in 3 days that's going to change anything. And then they released it first for just content creators, so people got to watch the game streamed, and then they released it that night for folks to buy. And then like 30 minutes later, it was on 17% discount. So people were complaining, where's my $5? I'm like, you're paying money for pixels. Anyways.
Right.
No, that was too harsh. You're not paying money for pixels. Let's scratch that one. But it's the quickest game that I've seen go from paid, mostly positive reviews to real world, just mostly negative reviews in a matter of a day.
I've seen some shenanigans with this game, dude. Like, I saw one guy navigate. This game is called Atlas, right?
Yeah.
And one guy was navigating through the pause menu and just pulled up an Arc pause menu.
That's what I've heard about
in
too,
that game. And like, anytime I've seen someone play it, they're just on the water. They're just like in the ocean. Like, no cool stuff is happening. They're just floating on a weird like castaway rap with one other dude.
Right.
And they're just like barely surviving. And it's like, looks so jank. The water looks amazing.
Yeah,
I will give it that.
What I think a lot of some people fall into the trap of, that they equate bigger the map equals more content.
No.
It's like, let's take that analogy with like spreading of peanut butter.
Yeah.
I can spread the peanut butter as far as I can, but it's going to be a thin spread.
Yeah.
What you want is spread out evenly and spread out as far as it goes, as well as high as it can go. You want it to be rich.
Yeah, it's a mile long,
Quality
but an
over quantity.
inch deep, right?
Yeah.
A mile long, but an inch deep, man. That's pretty much what
Yes.
it is. Oh man, did you play that? Did you like get hands on that thing? Did you touch it?
I watched. I went through the 5 stages of grief because I was really wanting it to work. I was like, Sea of Thieves. I stopped playing that. I was like, I need a pirate game, and this was like, we'll let you play us, Winter. Just give us $30. Like, okay, but I didn't.
Dude, now there is a game that Ubisoft is making called like Skulls and Bones or something.
Yeah, that looks interesting because I haven't seen any bad reviews yet.
Are you going to be being burned by Sea of Thieves, being burned by Atlas? Are you going to be an early adapter to this game?
No, I'm done buying games early access anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I will. I'm trying to commit to my personal vow of holding game companies accountable and telling them that they need to release games. They need to, at least the major companies need to stop releasing early access games.
Yeah, especially if they're not even in.
Yes.
They're releasing games that aren't finished and they don't plan to finish them.
Yeah,
it's like the game itself is like in pre-beta, almost post-alpha.
Yeah, and if you think about it, games are the only art form, creative art form that allows you to do that. You don't get like half a written like a comic book, and it's like we
forgot to ink it.
Yeah,
or a movie like, can you imagine if Infinity War came out, but all the SFX were like half-assed done.
Mm-hmm.
You know
or
what I mean?
The
like,
Marvel movies but they're still just the green screen.
Yeah, it's just Josh Brolin with all the little CG dots on his face.
Now I would love to see that.
That'd be epic.
Yeah,
I would be. People would pay to see
like that footage of Beauty and the Beast. Did you see that?
No,
where
it had
they had the guy who played the Beast. He had to wear the like fake legs.
Oh shit! No, no, that sounds dumb.
Yeah, a part of me,
the Avengers,
and like a part of me is like, why couldn't they just like put like the little bulbs around his legs? I think it had something to do so that he could mimic how the character is supposed to walk.
Yeah, it's all about the acting. They need to be able to act through the mocap. So, especially if the guy wants to do it himself, you know what I mean? So they have to kind of cater to them.
Yeah, Andy Serkis must have not been available.
No, he was doing one of the Planets of the Planets at the time.
Planet of the Apes, the Undead. Okay,
the Undead, Planet of the Undead Apes, Resurrection.
We mean no monkey business.
Oh, chimpanzee! That. Let's go on to number
3.
Number 3. Start. My number 3 is a game I just finished. I just 100% it all the way. Nothing else to do in the game because I couldn't stop playing it. It is so much fun, and this is Marvel's Spider-Man. Is my number 3 Sony exclusive. Oh, this game is just so much love into this game, dude. Like, just a little bit of back history and just aging myself. I remember playing Marvel Spider-Man on the Sega Genesis, the Master System, way back in the day, where it was just a bunch of sprites. You got to fight Venom and Dr. Octopus, and you were in the sewers fighting the lizard. You know, it was on Sega, and it looked great back then. And to see it go from that to mocaps and facial recognitions and, you know, just swinging momentum, it's just, the game is just a love letter to anyone who's ever liked this Marvel stuff, who's ever liked Spider-Man stuff. And it harkens back to all those games way back then, Maximum Carnage, even some of the Beanox games like Ultimate Spider-Man and Web of Shadows. This is like all those attempts were rolled into this one game, and it's perfect. The fighting is perfect. The swinging is perfect. The story is the best Spider-Man story ever told in the medium. And that's without hyperbole. Like, this is the best, better than the movies. This is the most quintessential Spider-Man story I have ever experienced.
Wow.
It's just that good. It's just that good. And I've heard other people echo that sentiment. So I know I'm crazy, but I'm not that crazy.
Yeah.
The villains were well done. I'm not going to spoil anything, because if you haven't touched this game or had any kind of hesitation to play it, if you are a comic books fan, if you're a story fan, if you're a video games fan, play Marvel's Spider-Man, dude. It's really that good. And it's not grindy. It's not repetitive. It's just fun. There was times I would just get off work and just go swinging. I wouldn't even do anything. I would just swing for like 2 hours.
But when would you start playing the game?
Never. Just swing. And do finger guns at pedestrians and take pictures and, you know, hang out with like people on the street and have them say hi to you and listen to J. Jonah Jameson's podcast, which is the weirdest thing in the world, because he has an in-game podcast that you can unsubscribe from.
Wait, who has an in-game podcast?
J. Jonah Jameson. That's what he does now. Like, he has a podcast that you tune into, and it's like,
I would listen to that.
It's like InfoWars. It's super dumb. It's like, Spider-Man's a menace, and I need my blood pressure medicine because he drives me so crazy.
But you know what drives you crazy? Those Blue Apron prices.
Right? And he just goes into a promo. But yes, just play Marvel Spider-Man. If you have access to get it, it's probably cheaper now. Just do it. It's so much fun. I love that game. Just stopped playing it since it came out. I can't recommend it enough. So that's my number 3. Absolutely. Glowing praise. Yeah, man.
Well, my number 3 is we're starting to hit the big hitters of trash. I have to dig real deep into the trash can, you see. This is the type of trash that has, like, people have thrown drinks into the can, and now it's starting to stink. I'm trying to get this out. And I'm like, what's this Battlefield 5?
Ooh. Really?
Battlefield 5. Yeah. If you guys forgot,
third word.
If you guys forgot this, Battlefield 5 came out this year.
Wow. Wow.
It has not been doing well in what people were expecting. I mean, let me give you, it is not a great test, but I remember getting so annoyed by the Battlefield 1 trailers that I would see constantly on YouTube and on TV. Hell's bells. While there's like a guy on horseback with like metal knight armor. It's like, okay, whatever.
But this isn't Battlefield, but okay.
What was that?
Like, okay, this isn't Battlefield, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, fast forward to Battlefield World War II, or Battlefield Where the Women At, and it is. I've seen some gameplay footage of it, and it's like they've added some things that are like cool, but it's like, again, it's EA. It's a little bad. And now, by the way, as soon as I type this game up, there's some more not coal, but just straight up feces in your stocking for the end of the year.
Dang.
Electronic Arts gearing up for microtransactions in January 2019 for Battlefield.
Can I ask you an off-topic question? Not really off-topic, but kind of on character. Is EA redeemable? Is Electronic Arts redeemable in 2019?
Yes, in the sense of, I think Russia was redeemable after they killed the royal family.
You're going for blood. Winter's going hard at the end of the year, man.
Well, I could have gone Germany, but Russia.
That's a good one too, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. EA is a company, and I think companies are redeemable. And to keep my Nazi quota up, Volkswagen is redeemable. People don't want to talk about the beginnings of Volkswagen.
No one wants to talk about it.
or a lot of other company, but it's I think it's redeemable. It just needs to do the like we're gonna take a month to really reflect on the decisions we've made, and then they come back with like a killer game with no if they made a game with no microtransactions,
not happening. But yeah,
if they just did it like here you go, folks, they would redeem themselves. If they became the company that was like, we're against microtransactions now after we made all the money.
We've made all we're going to make for it and we're done with it. Scorched earth.
Yeah.
But
I think EA can come back. It just needs to reevaluate itself.
Oh, Battlefield 5. I forgot that came out.
Exactly. Like I saw a commercial for that a couple of days ago. I'm like, oh yeah. That's a thing.
Did that have a battle royale mode? I don't even remember.
It was supposed to, but I have no clue if they did or not.
That sucks. Poor game. Poor EA and all their infinite.
Yes, in fact,
money.
I'm putting that back into the trash so they can firm it for another year.
It's starting to stink up the place, man.
Yeah.
Starting to stink up the place. Are we on number 2 already?
Number 2.
Number 2 and number 1 were hard for me, but I had to really think about it. And number 2 is probably one of the best games of all time. Just in sense of polish, in story, and gameplay, and all that fun stuff. And that is Sony's God of War. And you may say, hey, is Mike a Sony guy? And it's like, honestly, guys, yes, because Xbox and Microsoft just didn't make anything that spoke to me as a gamer. And my number 2 and my number 3 are both Sony exclusives. But God of War is the best game of the year. Literally won best game of the year. And it's because of a lot of different things. Is that there is a lot of attention to detail in this game and a lot of focus on redemption in this game. And not just as a game theme, but like as a video game in general theme. You know, the market's been flooded with so many multiplayers and first-person shooters that the art of the single player was almost dying.
Mm-hmm.
And people were getting the idea that the single-player experience is not lucrative. You know what I mean? It's not going to make any money. They're going to be faded out. And this game just kind of brought that back super hard. Said, we don't need microtransactions. We don't need DLC. This game had no DLC. And that's crazy to me. Every game has DLC. Spider-Man had DLC. But it just didn't have it. It was just a complete story from head to toe about one of video games' most, I would say, polarizing characters in Kratos. And Kratos is up there with Mario and Sonic now as like a video game icon. And it just totally rewrote his story. It made the character different in a good way and opened the gate for so many possibilities to go with this character. And the gameplay was new but familiar, and the villains had motivations. It was like watching a good movie. It was like God of War is my favorite movie of the year, so to speak. And it just was a time suck. It was just, you start playing, and next thing you know, it's dark outside. You're like, wait, where'd the time go? You know what I mean? You just get lost in it. And that's why it's my number 2, is that I think it's one of my favorite games of the year. And I think it's up there with like top 10 games of all time. Just in its in everything it does right. In the actual, you know, flag in the ground that you can still tell a good story and be amazing. You don't have to cater to the current foils of gaming development, which is mandatory multiplayer, loot boxes, DLC, all that stuff is out the door. It was just a good game. And if you have a PS4 and you don't have it, I'm just staring at you like Guile from Street Fighter V with the Buckeyes. Just, what's wrong with you? Why don't you have this? Why aren't you playing it? So, you know what I mean? Just 1,000-yard stare at you. Like, why you should have this now. Like don't stop listening to the podcast, but after you're done listening to the podcast, go buy it and you'll love it. So that's my number 2, God of War.
God of War.
Hells bells. Throw hells bells in there. Hellraiser.
There you go. I'm glad that you did that this time.
That's a deep cut
Yep.
right there. Cats don't know. Oh, that's
Yeah,
sad.
speaking of
Okay.
deep cuts, let's really get into this trash can here. And
Dang,
yeah,
you're like arm deep in the trash
I'm like,
can
what?
now, my dude. I'm not gonna say that. You're trying to get me in trouble.
Yes, but you
I'm
will
not gonna do
survive. Metal Gear Survive number 2
I want to talk about this game too.
in the top worst games of 2018, folks. This is what happens when you're like 2 to 3 years too late to the survival trend, and you really need to, and you really made a game, and you go, how can we still try to sell as many units as possible? Let's fit Metal Gear into it.
I'm gonna let you say your piece because I'm like biting my lip because I have so much to say about this game.
Well, it is like if you thought Shrek the video game was a cash grab, here's let's make a survival game that's super slow, but people people are already used to Metal Gear being slow and like stealthy.
Yep.
So Metal Gear Survive, everyone's gonna love it, and they're also gonna love that you need to pay for an extra save spot.
Oh my goodness! There's so much. Game is the gift that keeps on giving, dude.
Yes. By the way, it has. So I'll let you know. So I looked it up online just now as well. According to Google users, it has a 20% of people liked this game. This has less people liking it than the number 1 game that I have on this list, but it's it's bizarre.
Game.
Yeah.
There are quite few things that are worse than pachinko machines. You know what I mean? Like worse.
My ex-wife.
Like in pachinko. Ying, ying, ying. But this game is possibly one of the worst things ever. Like ever. Like, like there was the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was the bubonic plague, and then there's like Metal Gear Survive. Like it's right in the cusp of those titans of bad days.
So you're saying that like worst. In history class, when they're talking about
40 years from now, in the super future, this is going to be a chapter in
like
a book,
Ronald Reagan
in
was a victim of an attempted assassination. And then 20 years later, Metal Gear Survive ruined the...
Survive came out.
Yeah.
And everyone just spits on the floor. This game is such a cash grab.
Yeah.
That it really had nothing to do with the Metal Gear series. But
it has Metal Gear in the title.
This is the thing I hate. And this is why I hate... And not to go on a tangent about Venom, but this is why I hate Venom so much.
Because it has Metal Gear
in the title. It has Metal Gear in the title. Venom Snake. Metal Gear 5. We did that part. This game made you pay for save states, dude. This game had like a Silent Hill like DLC pack. Like it's the scummiest thing in the world, dude.
Yeah.
This game just plugs on your heartstrings. It's a what this game is? It's a homunculus.
Yes.
It's a man-made creature that doesn't have a soul.
I want to put it in the category of like the way people were reacting to the Diablo mobile announcement.
Yeah.
Just because
it's the same thing. It's a homunculus.
It's like a big old wiffle bat miss sort of thing. Of like, this is the first game that's going to come out since your drama. Of like, I can't say his name.
3.
Yeah. So now you would think that you would want to make at least a passable game and not add this attempt to see like, well, how else can we make money from these folks? Well, if they're stupid enough to buy this game, maybe they can buy a safe space.
It's the most half measure ever. Yeah. It's like, this is a property that people have been waiting years for, right? So what's the cheapest way that we can cash in on that thirst?
Yeah.
A mobile game. In this case, it's like everyone's mad at us for doing the way we did Hideo Kojima, the creator of Metal Gear. How do we make money off that shenanigans seconds. Let's put out a survival game that has nothing to do with Metal Gear. But in name only. And it's like,
well, in initials, MGS.
it makes me so mad.
Yes.
Okay.
They should really just leave this game off in the corner, leave it stranded to die.
I like that. I like what you did there. Not many people are going to catch that. Stranded to die. If this podcast didn't already have a name, that would be the name.
Time for number one.
For number one. While winter is on fire, I get to put everyone to sleep with my number one, which you probably already know what it is if you know me at all.
Yeah.
And that is, it can be played almost on everything. On PlayStation, computer, Xbox, probably even the Switch one day.
There's like a whole world.
It's a complete world. It's an ecosystem full of creatures and ne'er-do-wells. But the official title is Monster Hunter World. I was super tempted to make this number 2 and make God of War number 1 because God of War is just such a more it's just more of a complete package of a game, like story, gameplay, graphics. But F all that. I had the most fun playing Monster Hunter World. Like it came out like in February, right?
Mm-hmm.
January, February. I have not stopped playing it. I've been playing it Winter will tell you, I've been playing it nonstop all year.
That is true. He's actually been streaming a few times.
Yes, like even in my bootleg setup, I tried streaming it. Like I love everything about it. I love the weird lore that it tells you but doesn't tell you. I love the grindiness of it. I love going on adventures. I love the idea that a lot of the best experiences in this game is player created. It's not organized by like a plot point or a forced interaction. It's just crazy things that happen during a fight. Like there was this one fight where we were fighting a very high level monster that uses wind attacks. It's called Kushadora. And I was absolutely under leveled for this fight. And it was me and a bunch of these like badass, super high level players that were just like, they were like the Marines from Aliens, right?
Right.
They're just bad. And this thing has a move where it will create a wind tunnel that lasts 5 minutes, like a 5 in-game minutes. It just won't stop going. And the wind tunnel blocks you out and causes damage, right? And we were at the last leg of the fight. And I was staying alive because if you die, that's a death for the whole team. It's called carting.
Cue the Civil War fight music.
Yeah. So we were running to fight the monster, and the monster did a wind tunnel between me and the other 3 guys, and there was only one entrance to its lair. So I'm locked in, the lowest level character, with a monster that can kill me with one shot. And the other guys were mad. They were doing sad faces. Oh, this guy's going to blow the mission, whoop-de-whoop. And I had to play cat and mouse with this thing for 5 minutes. I didn't dare attack it. I was hiding. I was putting on invisible stuff. I was trying to like stealth it the entire time. And right before the thing was finally going to get to drop on me, the wind veil lifted, and these guys came in like the X-Men and just start wailing on it and just going right into it. And it was so fun. It became a completely different game in that 5 minutes. I'm over here like, don't die. Please don't die. Don't let it get you. Keep ducking and diving. I want to be the one that ruins this. Just please. And it became a survival horror game for like 5 minutes. And it was that's just one example of the player created like situational experiences that this game gave me over the months and months and months of playing and leveling and armor building. And it's just a blast. Like, I can't wait for more content. All the content that they give you is absolutely free, minus like emotes and stuff like that. But new monsters, new armors, they've never asked you for a dime. They just download it to your system. It's just the most generous way to do it. Like, I've not put one more dime into this game, but I've gotten so much content, so many things to do over these months and months of it being out. and I can sing its praises all day. But I just want to say that it's my favorite game of the year. Monster Hunter World. It's made me I'm a convert. I will sing the praises of it until Kingdom Come. It's an amazing game. I put maybe 400 or 500 hours into it, and that's nothing. Some people out there have put thousands. It's a great game. It's a damn good game. Absolutely. So what's the worst of the worst, man? I'm kind of curious.
So you're saying that you liked it.
I'm saying there's a chance. It's okay. Mm-hmm. If you have 40, I think it's $40 now. So if you have $40 laying around or whatever your international equivalent is, give it a shot. Maybe your cup of tea, maybe your spot of tea, as it were, Oh, so much fun.
Now begins the number one worst game of 2018.
Lamentation. Worst game of the year. Oh, worst game of the year.
Ladies and gentlemen. Let me reach real deep into the trash can here.
Trash can and reach back into it.
And it turns out I have no more trash because it's all spread out on the internet under the search title of Fallout 76. Ladies and gentlemen, Fallout 76 is the worst game to come out of 2018.
That hurts so bad, but it's true.
There's it's
the most disappointing game in my life, dude.
I tried to figure out what would be the number one worst game, and there is literally no other contender. They get the turd trophy for this year, Bethesda.
I've never been so disappointed in a game in my life, dude.
And because they do three things in this, three things that I could point out. One, they lie during the production of the game.
Correct.
They then lie some more during people playing the game, in the sense of you're gonna get your money back. Actually, I'll just put those lies together. They just lie, telling sweet little lies. Go look up that song. The second one is
look it up.
When they try to fix things, it just makes it worse. So now it's becoming a comedy of errors of okay, we'll give you the bag that we were supposed to give you anyways. Oh, when you do it, we're going to release your credit card information. That sort of thing. Or I'm reading right now, Bethesda gives out free games as an apology, but it's backfiring, and I could probably predict why it's backfiring, or the idea of you're re-releasing old games that are still 100 times better than what Fallout 76 is. And what could have been, that's another thing. It could have been so good if the multiplayer. I've always said that they should have done if they just did an Elder Scrolls Online reskin into Fallout, I would be playing that nonstop. They could even it just reskin it. They could have the same dialogue. It would not make any sense, but I want to have that feeling of wearing power armor and shooting, having weird dance offs with people. And then the third one is the thing that I cannot abide, that you've released a horde of Captain Hindsight folks going, well, I knew Bethesda was going to ruin the Fallout franchise. It was always downhill from when they had Fallout 3. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. You're making these people right. That's the biggest sin. That you're making these people right. You know what I mean? And I'm sure he remembers when this thing was announced, both of us were very positive about it. We were, because we didn't know what it was, right? Because they didn't say. And when Todd Howard came out with his chest out and said that this is going to be an online multiplayer, we were both like, okay, how are you going to figure that out, right? Like, how do you do that? And we were both very, not even cautiously optimistic. We were glowing. Like, we get new Fallout this year. You know what I mean? It's awesome. And this game turned into such a blooming onion of crap that the more you peeled back, the stinkier it got. Winter touched on the whole bag fiasco.
Yes.
I mean, and other things like finding like Skyrim and Fallout 3 code. Fallout 3 code was used in this game. This game feels like it was what they call in the industry a vertical slice, which is kind of like a demo. This game felt like a $60 like demonstration to like the board of directors. Like, this is how the multiplayer would work. We're not going to fill it with any living things. We're not going to fill it with NPCs. We're not going to fill it with story. We just want to show you how it would work. You know what I mean? Like how you would run around and how you would interact with people and it'll be online. This game felt unfinished from the moment it hit. Everyone, it just smelt bad. You know what I mean? It came out the oven smelling like hot garbage, like hot, sweaty garbage. And everyone saw right through it. And I've watched hours and hours of gameplay trying to find some inkling of satisfaction to make me want to buy it. But to see people crash mid-game, you know what I mean? That's another thing. This game is buggy as hell. There's so many bad bugs in this game. There's a bug where if you hit a certain monster, it'll just wipe your save file.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I mean, we say that everyone saw right through it, but like I said, this has a 40 from Google users who are going thumbs up, thumbs down when you look at this at Google, on google.com. 42% like this video game. Still.
And you know why?
42%.
Ugh. It's just because the game still has the skeleton of a Fallout game.
That's true.
With no intestines, with no meat, with no flesh. It's just a skeleton. It's just, you know, you're still walking around. Things feel familiar. They turned bobbleheads into temporary upgrades, dude. You can't even collect them anymore. Part of the fun was going through the world and having your full set of bobbleheads once you've done everything. That's how you know you beat the game. They turn bobbleheads into temporary and digestible boosts within the game. That's a sin already. There's no, and one thing about Fallout is the lore. Like the story was always a big thing because it wasn't the gameplay, mind you. The gameplay is not Bayonetta blow your mind crazy. It was a means to an end. And the mysterious stranger's not even in the game, I don't think. How do you have a Fallout game without the mysterious stranger?
Yeah,
because it doesn't work, you know?
Yeah, it wouldn't. Yeah, it's sad. It's very sad. I'm very disappointed in you, young man.
Waving our fingers at Bethesda. You gotta do better, guys, because this is coming from two very big Fallout fans. I'm looking at my Fallout collection right now in my room, in my recording area, and I just think about it, I'm like, Fallout 4 wasn't amazing, but it was still a Fallout game, and it was still fun. I played so many hours into that game. Not as good as New Vegas 3, but it was still fun. Fallout 76 was empty calories, man. It was nothing. It was worse than nothing. You know? It was the promise of something.
It's a sad day. It's a sad day.
But and it's like I can't even have faith in Bethesda anymore. It's like what? Like this is so bad that it's like I just don't have faith in what Skyrim may be or what Starfield may be or 4 or 5 years down the road what a new Fallout would be.
Right. Well, yeah, I have no clue. It's a scary time. But then again, I have to put it in perspective of there's so many other things that could have happened. It could have been that it turns out when you download Fallout 76, it turns your console into a Bitcoin generator.
I wouldn't be surprised. Why is PlayStation running so hot? It's because you're mining Bitcoins at the same time, my dude. You didn't know? We put it in the instruction manual that doesn't exist.
But
Ugh.
that's where things are going. Get paid to play.
Oh, geez, that's horrible. Speaking of horrible things, you want to do some honorable mentions, my dude?
Honorable mentions.
Let's flip the script. I'll do a worst honorable mention,
Okay,
and you do a best honorable mention.
I'll
So
do that.
what would you say? What do you think your honorable best game of the year would be?
Well, the game it didn't really come out this year now, did it? But it's a
Okay.
game that I played this year, right?
That makes sense to me.
I think Fortnite actually has come to its own this year, in the sense of there's been so much, like, it has entered the ether of the world. Yeah. Like
That
it
is
was
life,
it was
dude.
this year that Drake played with a computer nerd a game.
Change the landscape of this earth.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Like if I told you like 5 years ago that a game that stole the idea of that game from someone else, which, hey, that's totally welcome to the game
all is
biz.
fair.
Yeah,
all is-
if we want to go fair, it's like, is everyone stealing from 007 GoldenEye? Or
Right, like, we can play that game all day. There's no such thing as brand new ideas, man.
right.
But
It has taken over the world so much that people are paying to be taught how to play this game. And you would go,
It's kinda
"You're a
nut-
witch, sir."
it's kind of nutty, man. Like how quickly this thing just kind of took off, and how much can you thank Drake for that exposure that it just instantly got was started on that night where he happened to hop into a random dude's stream named Ninja and change his life forever, and change this game developer's life forever. And ever since then, it's just been gangbusters. Like you said, there's classes on this game. You know what I mean? This game is making so many people money. Streamers, advertisers. Thanos was in the game. We don't have a new Marvel game, but we got Thanos in Fortnite. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy how 2018 belonged to this game. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
And it's a game.
across the board.
Yeah. Because, like, there's so many things that would make you think that it would never last, where it's Fortnite is the battle royale is not the original mode of the game. Right. It was added on later. It was
Very
in
different
court with PUBG because of this, but that was settled out of court, owned by the same company. And same mega company, if that makes sense.
Conglomerate.
Yeah. And it's what, so yeah, I can't even finish that list. What I'm trying to get to is now that there's money coming in, now you're seeing like famous people take notice more. If you've like been watching the news or hearing the news recently, the guy from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Carlton,
Alfonso Rivera or something like that.
Yeah, Alfonso Rivera is suing Fortnite for his dance that they used.
Pay the man. It's his dance, dude.
Right. But you can't just simply say that, because then the floodgates start opening.
Like any famous thing,
Yeah.
this thing is getting Warcraft effect. You know what I mean? Where
Right. Personally, I would say get your ducks all in a row before you do something like that.
Well, are you telling Fortnite to do that or the suers?
The Fortnite. Or just go, but that would require them going, let's give out money before we need to give out money.
Fortnite's in a position where they're going to pay anyone to shut up to keep this boat rocking.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure Alfonso's going to get cut a clean, quiet check to tell him to go have a seat.
It's supposedly several other celebrities are thinking about joining in on the suing, and the way they worded it was that Fortnite will have to give them like both the money that they're earning right now and also give them a cut from the money. Yeah, future money and money that they should have been getting since the very beginning. So this could very well
in the game.
Yeah. If it went down that, it would have to be pretty, that would be a huge leap to get there, but it's becoming something that people need to maybe think about. Like, this is a potential thing of going to court. This is what might happen.
I think this is part of the blowback of what they call aggressive expansion. It's where you're not even thinking about it. What's cool? Throw this in there. Throw the Carlton dance. Throw the floss dance. Who owns it? We don't care. Just mocap it. Throw it in there.
Yeah, well, I think they're assuming that you can't copyright a dance because it's just a movement of your body. And
right.
then
People are figuring it out. Yeah. Michael Jackson copywrote the moonwalker. It's part of a person's intellectual property. Like, you yourself become the property. Like, Carlton, Alfonso Rivera created that dance on Fresh Prince. Mm-hmm. He was known for that dance. It was part of his brand. You know what I mean?
Right. And I don't think people are saying that every dance needs to be copyrighted now, but it's like, this is a dance that he is known for.
Yeah, it's a difference.
Yeah.
It's different. Whereas the kid who did the floss at the Super Bowl, is he
right?
Or the kid who did the floss at the movie or the music awards or wherever he did it first, does he require? Is that his identity? Do we know who that kid is?
Right. Well, he's the one being discussed joining in. Like, they stole my dance, when it's more he popularized the dance. Someone else did it before him.
Someone else. It existed before him.
Yeah.
But he popularized it, and that's the slippery slope, right? It's like, if no one knew what the Hit the Quan was, and I just did the Hit the Quan on like Letterman, and it blew up and became a super dance that I didn't create it, would I be entitled to compensation just because I was the one who famously brought it to the limelight? Or should we hunt down that one kid in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, who made it, who invented it, in the slums? You know what I mean? Like, right. Or it's just like, where does it stop? But something as clear cut as Alfonso Rivera doing the Carlton, it's named the Carlton. It's his character. So I think that's an easier argument than a dance that originated elsewhere from just the ether, but you did it on TV, so it makes it yours. But Fortnite is. I'm curious to see how it does in 2019 if it keeps up steam. You know what I mean?
What is your top game then?
My top worst game of the year?
Yeah, my honorable mention. Because we kind of turned like the top game or top honorable mention. We kind of went off the rails there.
That's fine, because Fortnite is very weird. It's a weird game, and that it has pluses and minuses. This game has all minuses, and this game is called The Quiet Man, created by Square Enix.
I've read about that somewhere. I've never even heard of it.
It's possibly the worst game I've ever seen. So people are comparing it to The Room. Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah.
I did not. That was a really bad Tommy. But the Quiet Man is a game created by Square Enix that's part live action scenes mixed with really bad game design. And you play a hearing impaired character, and the entire game is played with no sound. So you can't hear dialogue, you can't hear noise, you can't hear the attacks of your hits or punches, you can't hear atmosphere. All you hear is like muffled waves throughout the entire game. And it plays like a PlayStation 2 game. And it's so poorly executed that it makes the game almost untouchable to complete. And it's just a nightmare. The whole thing is just so poorly done. Like it's a weird mix of Uncanny Valley at its worst, because you literally have acting like it's like soap opera level acting with no sound, and then it just transitions into gameplay that looks like something. It's like Shinobi off PlayStation 2. You know, it's just really bad, and just it's if I had to do a worst, that would have probably been my number 2 or number 3 worst games of the year, because it's just a bad. It's a good idea done.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I've never heard of a Quiet Man. I saw it on the list of like other people's top worst games, but yeah.
I like to call it the shush shush boy. He's the shush shush boy, and it's I got to get some hands on it. Actually, I played it a little bit at a buddy's house because he had to know. He's not a trash monk, but he's more like a trash ninja. You know what I mean? He's like a trash samurai.
Right. Trash ninja.
Like a trash ninja, where he likes to secretly buy bad games and play them for his own cringe. And I just was like, "You bought the shush shush boy?" He was like, "Yeah, man, I needed to know. Like, you want to play?" I'm like, "Sure." I'm like, why doesn't it not feel like I'm doing anything? Like, it feels like you're playing underwater because there's no impact to anything.
Right.
And you see people screaming in the cutscene, and we're just joking around and just filling in the gaps, ad-libbing what we think they're saying, just because there's no story, because you don't know what's going on. It's just the most biggest misstep I've seen in a video game in quite some time. And it's kind of astounding that Square Enix put a ton of money into this game. And it came out. It actually went gold and released. It's just the most baffling thing I've ever seen. It's out of control. So I think that's my honorable mention, that when I wanted to be on this episode, because it's just that horrible. It's just that bad.
But what is it bad that we survived through this recording?
We were survived through this podcast episode. And to close out this episode, I would like to ask you a very simple question. What do you see is going to be? Do you have any predictions on your worst game of 2019?
Oh, that's interesting. I want to say the Diablo game that's coming out on mobile.
Yeah, man.
That's not. It's not gonna be good, folks.
It's a really big shoe. If I had to pick a prediction for I think what's going to be my favorite game of 2019, I'm just going to cheat and just say Devil May Cry 5. Devil May Cry, and it's a very easy pick for me. I'm probably going to play the hell out of that. Hopefully I'll be streaming it. You'll see. Do you have any passing thoughts on this year in gaming before we close this up?
Yeah, there's big stuff coming up for 2019. I mean, there's projects underway that we're working on, and I'm probably going to be rebooting my portfolio site so people can find out more about the stuff I do on the interwebs. Until then, you can check me out on social media at TrashMonkIII. That's TrashMonk III. And I will see you all next year.
Absolutely. And just to give you a quick idea of me, Mike G, and MOTN in 2019, like Winter alluded to, there is a lot in the works for next year, which we're all excited about, to bring you to the next stage of nerd evolution. So please be excited for that. You can always find more content on this channel on Twitter, which is at mnerdiverse. That is at mnerdiverse. And of course, new episodes will be coming out for all of your favorite MOTN content, such as reviews, top 10s, our weekly news show, and a couple of surprises that are going to be debuting next year. So I'm very excited to bring that to the table. And if you like this content, you can always support us on Patreon with a very small donation. You can help this podcast keep on trucking. And if you wanted to support us non-monetarily, you can start by liking this episode, commenting on YouTube, and subscribing to our channels. I've, of course, been your host, Mike G.
Do it.
Do it. Get out. And we will always ask you to look towards the skies. Like towards the skis? Question mark?